Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
We are barely reaching 2 years with these new consoles, and 30 FPS has already shown its ugly face back around these streets.
Am I ugly? My eyes! My eyes!
Next gen was supposed to kill 30 FPS, not bring it back. All that horsepower under the hardware, those 12 teraflops, are for nothing because incompetent developers just don't care. And the worst part is, if you're slightly critical of their incompetence, you get salty ass tweets like this one.
Gamers shouldn't be allowed to criticize game devs until they've made a game.
What are you gonna do about it? Huh?
These game developers are giving Quantum TV a run for his money. They took one look at him and said, nah, we can have the worst take of the year. Sit down.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
You're not allowed to tell car manufacturers if the tires are flat or if the engine's gone bust because you never made a car. How dare you? I mean, yeah, you're the people who are supposed to be the most critical because you're buying our shit, but you're not allowed to be critical unless you've made the games. What a beautiful fallacy, would you look at that? He just lined himself up for the ratio. But why did he tweet that, Frit? What's going on? You didn't even start the video with the proper intro. And we've also noticed, Frit, that your video's in 30 FPS because it's choppy as hell.
This video is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
I'm glad you guys noticed. It means you guys have good eyes. Unlike PlayStation developers like this one, who apparently can't actually see 60 FPS, which is a problem if you're a developer.
Confession time, I've been making games for almost 20 years and under threat of death. I couldn't tell you the difference between 30 and 60 FPS.
I don't know how you passed your eye test, son, but you can't see jack shit. Jack shit.
I can see that you're being a bit of an arsehole.
Well, all of this is to prove a point, because if you haven't heard the news, Gotham Knights, you know, that game nobody gives two shits about, is releasing at 30 FPS for consoles. So God knows how terrible it's gonna be on PC.
Some of us even have graphics cards almost a year and a half old. Oh, jeez, that is old.
And so immediately upon hearing this news, every single rational person lost their goddamn mind. Are the dark ages of 30 FPS coming back? Because this is also a problem with A Plague's Tale, which is also locked at 30 FPS on consoles.
Why?
And so in the official Gotham Knights Discord server, one of the developers responded to the criticism with an announcement for everyone.
Everyone, I know many of you are wondering about the availability of a performance mode for Gotham Knights on consoles. Due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in a highly detailed open world, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. For this reason, our game does not have a performance quality toggle option and will run at 30 FPS on consoles.
They betrayed me, they didn't keep their promise, they tricked me, and I don't care anymore.
Highly detailed! This don't even look as good as Arkham Knight from 2015! What are you talking about? At least the excuse for that game was it was on last-gen consoles, which were underpowered. Current-gen consoles do not have that excuse. This game ain't pretty enough to be capped at 30 FPS, I'm sorry. Miss me with that excuse. And if the co-op is the reason causing the 30 FPS, why not just have a 60 FPS mode for single player? It makes no goddamn sense. The excuses don't add up. It's pure incompetence. And you don't gotta be a game developer to know that. Let's not forget that this game was built for last-gen consoles, and then that version was scrapped to solely make it available for next-gen consoles, and we're still getting the last-gen performance and visuals? Not only do plenty of games look 10 times better than Gotham Knights, they also perform 10 times better. This excuse wasn't good enough for the gaming community, who became very vocal about it online, and also very critical. And that is why you saw all that cuckery from the other developers' tweets I was showing you. People who choose to put themselves in the spotlight spotlight, only to realize they don't actually like attention, because not all of it will be positive. You can tell that they've gone years without having their opinions challenged, but it sort of makes sense. Developers stick together. They share the same field. Of course, they're going to stand up for each other. It's not the first time we've seen it. But to lash out at gamers and tell them that they don't know what they're talking about and they have no right to be complaining, now that's the type of salt that you guys tune in for, and there's plenty of it.
Open up! It's time for the pill!
I wish gamers understood what 60 FPS means in terms of all of the things they lose to make the game run that fast, especially taking into account that we have a current-gen console that's not much better than a last-gen one.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I don't know, Frit. I think maybe you should sit down. This is a developer we're talking about. They have actual experience and years of work. What do you got? Well, nothing. I just have a loud mouth and a lot of rage in my heart. Oh yeah, and a pair of eyes that can actually see 60 FPS. And also, luckily, those two eyes can see past people's BS. Here's a few more screenshots just to give you an idea of who this, Lee DeVonald is.
I wish they understood that 60 FPS equals 16 milliseconds. I wish they understood that each enemy on screen takes up a chunk of that time. Each VFX spawn, each NPC. You want dynamic time of day? What about global illumination? That's usually 4 more milliseconds right off the bat. A quarter of your frame budget is gone just on one feature. Shadows? That's usually another millisecond or two, depending on how many lights you allow shadows on. Like before you even get to gameplay features, like enemy numbers and such, your frame budget is already being eaten into. And I wish gamers understood that things like lighting and illumination are gameplay features. It all adds up. Honestly, congratulations to the Gotham Knights team for what they've been able to achieve graphically with this game, and for having the courage to put quality first.
Be gone from me now. What? Be gone from me, you soy boy beta cock.
Okay, hold on. I know there's a bunch of BS in there, and most of you out there who know more about software and programming than me are probably pulling your hair out right now as we speak. But it gets worse. You see, Mr. Lee here was never responsible for a single thing done in Gotham Knights, as stated in this tweet.
I really should have prefaced this with, I don't work for Warner Brothers Media. I don't work on or have ever worked on Gotham Knights. I have no idea why they've made the choices they've made. I've worked in game development for over a decade, and I'm hoping to help people see it's never simple.
What the? See, that's the type of... I'm gonna kick your ass.
Lee, sit your ass down, okay? You're a technical artist. Just like the people you're criticizing, you cannot speak on this matter. It's even worse considering the fact that you never even worked on Gotham Knights, and yet you're acting like you did and understand the entire project. This man's tweet couldn't even last a day along with his account, because quickly following the backlash, his Twitter account was gone. And thus all the amazing quote tweets and replies along with it.
It's not fair.
Now, fortunately for us, Twitter did its thing, and a lot of people went back in his history and screenshotted a lot of tweets that are about to add even more context to just how salty and pathetic this man is. Now, you remember in the first tweet I showed you, he talked about how there's some console that's holding back the generation. You know what console he's talking about, right? He's talking about the Xbox Series S, which makes no sense because it has the exact same CPU as the Series X. But never mind that. This man's blind hatred for the Xbox Series S was well documented for us to see.
Oh, and I'm fairly sure the only way to get the Xbox Series S to run at 60 anything, let alone FPS, is to roll that potato down the steepest hill you can find. Can they drop the Series S while they're at it and do all of us devs a favor? This meme and the Xbox Series S in particular. Now you're starting to get it. People who aren't single platform have to make games that fit the smallest box, the Series S, and it hurts all of the games as a result. Blame Microsoft. The Series S has done more damage to current gen than anything else.
Man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
Holy shit, Lee. What did the Xbox do to you? Show me on the doll where the Series S touched you.
here?
And also, how can you be complaining when you have no experience actually having to optimize performance? You're acting like that's the type of work you deal with. It's not. You have a massive hate boner for the Xbox Series S, and God knows why. The tiny little thing has more 120 FPS games than the PlayStation 5. Clearly, nothing's being held back. You're blaming everybody but those developers who were originally intending for this game to be last gen anyway. So miss me with the excuse of it's the Series S's fault. You don't know jack shit. It's no wonder you deleted your account and left Twitter. Don't come back. It legitimately surprises me people this stupid can make it into the industry. But as long as there's some sort of title they can put next to their name in their bio, ponies will eat it up and use it to flame the console wars, which they did immediately. Every single one of them actually believed this Lee guy, and for a split second, they all thought he was one of the developers for Gotham Knights, an incredible source.
Senior Dev says Xbox Series S is holding back this generation of games and says it's not much better than a last-gen console.
Ah, yes, the Red Dragon.
I knew you'd come.
I'm not lying to you when I say the Red Dragon is on standby 24/7, waiting for any sort of bad news about Xbox to tweet about immediately. He won't even bother to verify if the information is accurate or if the people are a credible source. He goes on to call the guy a senior developer. If some random crackhead under a bridge approached the Red Dragon on the streets and told him he was a former senior developer for Xbox and that they're evil and sacrifice the blood of children or some shit, he'd be posting it on Twitter right away as if it was the goddamn truth. This man's hatred for Xbox has no limits. He sets his own integrity and self-respect aside just so he can bash the Xbox. This is quite honestly a lot, and I mean a lot of work to do for a company that's not paying you. I'm still trying to figure out what it is that he gets out of being wrong about everything.
He's not wrong.
Take him, you goddamn cuck. Yes, he is. He literally is. This game wasn't built for the current gen. It was all built around last gen. There is no excuses. The Xbox cannot be blamed. Development for this game began long before dev kits were even available for the next gen consoles. Because if the Series S is really that weak, then it shouldn't be hard for the PS5 to run this game at 60 FPS. Stop with the excuses and stop with the blind hate. You all look seriously retarded right now.
This thread is god tier, Holmes. Amazing how supposed indie devs on Xbox podcasts have people believe PS5 had trouble, even though running games at 1440p are the same people that can't accept Xbox Series S being the lowest common denominator, man. As said by AAA devs, lots of clown shit going around, Holmes.
Let him have his fun.
Again, the PlayStation fanboys will believe anyone and anything. They don't care. As long as it's the most anti-Xbox post you could think of, they'll back it up. Ponies are out here quoting people who know as little as they do about video game development. I don't know who to be more triggered at, the ponies or the jackass who tweeted all the misinformation. Both are responsible for making each other look like morons and are a stain on video game discussion.
I tried to tell folks about the Series S, but they didn't want to listen to me. Fanboys will continue to deny and downplay and say it's a non-issue, but this isn't the only developer to say this. Numerous have said the exact same thing. Series S was a joke and mistake in my opinion.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Ah, it all makes sense now. I see why you blocked me, Mr. Chris Righteous. You don't want me taking one look at your dumbass tweets, do you? It's all fun and games until you get featured in a video with over 40k views. At this point, I'm running out of ponies. Even King Thrash has blocked me as well.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Don't know what I'm gonna do. The salt game's gonna run dry. There's just something about Daddy Frit that gets the ponies real pissed off. Now let's end this great batch of salt with a caught in 4K moment, shall we? Ponies are acting like we're supposed to forget that they were capping for 30 FPS earlier this year. So not a single one of them is in any position to be complaining about 30 FPS or showing outrage over 30 FPS. Like this jackass hyped.
Gotham Knights, $70 on consoles, only runs at 30 FPS, $60 on PC and runs at 60 FPS, even on these low-tier GPUs. I hope it flops.
Flashback.
According to a leaked Chinese today's review, Horizon Forbidden West has 2 graphics mode.
Me and my friend Justin LED will play the 30 FPS mode.
Caught you in 20K HDR 1200 FPS Super Nintendo iOS 49 Blu-ray Ultraviolet Radiation 1080p PlayStation 5.
Beautiful. Mwah. What a way to end the video, no? Hypocrisy at its finest. 30 FPS is fine for PlayStation games. 30 FPS elsewhere? Bad. Evil. All Xbox's fault. Even though the PS5 is supposed to be so powerful, yet somehow it's the Xbox's hardware's fault that the PS5 can't tap into its own hardware. It makes no goddamn sense. If you've noticed the trend with these videos, it somehow always comes back to being Xbox's fault. Even when there's no dots to connect back to Microsoft, they'll do it anyway. It's not the developer's fault that they suck at optimizing and can't program anything. It's the Xbox's fault. Leave those poor developers alone. How about you leave my brain alone? What did it ever do to deserve being pelted by such retardation like this? But I'll tell you what you can do. You can save my soul by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you so choose to. And with that being said, let's see how bad it gets next video.
Free Congo sucks ass.